Hello and welcome back to Bookish. Today I wanted to do the Finish the Book tag, which I saw on Old Blues Chapter and Verse channel. He has a BookTube channel. If you've never seen it, you should go by there and check it out. He has some really interesting discussions about books, and he's a very, kind of to me, a cool booktuber. I got the idea from watching his video. He did this tag recently, and again the tag is the Finish the Book tag. And in the comment section, he and I got into a discussion, and he suggested that, you know, maybe I should do this tag. And well, that's the first time anybody's even kind of sort of tagged me, and so I really appreciate that. And so I thought I'd do the tag. So essentially the tag has, well, for me, I'm going to say it has 7 questions that all have to do with, you know, what you do when you finish a book. So question number 1 is, do you keep a list of books you've read? And the answer is yes. Okay, so one of the book rituals I have is that when I finish a book, I write it down in this journal. So this is a journal that someone gave to me on a gift-giving occasion. I think my sister gave it to me for Christmas with a Barnes & Noble gift card in it. And I decided that I would keep a journal of the books I read. And I didn't really think it through very well. So what I did was I divided my journal into sections. Fiction section, there's the fiction section, there's a section of short story collections, there's a non-fiction section. I have a little section over here for favorite poets and whose poetry I've read. The non-fiction section is divided into general and then all kinds of historical topics. Have most heavily weighted for me with American history, and then a section on biography. I also have a section on art and sciences. Anyway, I divided up, you know, books up by category and sections, kind of like the library does. And I also, unfortunately, like the library did, is I listed them alphabetically. And you can already see the problem with having a list of books alphabetically, where you write the books down in ink. Sooner or later, you run out of room. Now, I did leave myself, I had enough forethought to leave myself a fairly generous amount of space, and the lines are really small, to write the book titles down, but sooner or later, I'm going to run out of spaces to write these things down. You know, some letters have lots of books written down, and some have very few. But sooner or later, I'm going to come to that point where I don't have space for those books anymore, and that's, you know, a failure of imagination, I suppose, on my part. I noticed that the S's are already all the way down here at the bottom. Anyway, that's what I do that's what I do when I finish a book. I record the name of the book and the author alphabetically in my book journal, and that's something I do every time I finish a book. Question 2 was, if you record stats about your reading, what stats do you record? Well, and this is easy for me. I don't record stats. I don't keep up with page numbers. I don't really keep up with numbers of books I read. It's just not one of those things that interests me. I don't have a Goodreads account because in some ways, I don't mean to sound bad about Goodreads. I understand its usefulness, and I think it's a really good thing, but for me it's just one more social media thing to keep up with, and you know, I'm kind of struggling to keep up with what I already have. So I don't have a Goodreads account, so I don't have any way, I don't keep stats, and I'm not really all that interested in stats. Question number 3 is, do you do star ratings? And if you do star ratings for books, how do you decide, you know, how do you decide how a book gets a certain number of stars? Again, this is a fairly easy question for me. I don't do a star rating system. Again, I don't have Goodreads. And so to me, books are just more, I don't try to quantify how much I like a book. It's more of an impression I have about the book and how good it is. So a lot of times I'll say a book is great. So to me, if a book is great, that's, you know, the highest number of stars. A good book, one step down. Sometimes, particularly if it's a book I've read, read that author before, I'll say, well, this isn't, you know, his or her best work, or maybe this isn't the best place to start. And then if a book's bad, I'm just gonna say the book's bad. The reason why I'm putting it that way is that question number 4 on the finished book tag is, do you review books? And I do review books here on my channel. And I've always been just kind of a natural book reviewer. As a matter of fact, I know that when I finished reading The Hobbit as a child, or as a young child, might be too young, but as a preteen, when I finished reading The Hobbit, I wrote a little review in the cover of the paperback, and it's still there to remind me of how bad my handwriting was then, and if you notice when I was looking at the book journal, how bad it still is today. Question number 5 was, where do you put finished books? And I put finished books on my bookshelves. I have, let's see, I have 6 sets of bookshelves in here, some that are, I'm going to call them boxes, 6 boxes high, and 3 sets that are 4 boxes high. There's also a bookshelf in our formal living room where my wife and I display hardback books that we own in a very decorative way, thanks to my wife. Question number 6 is, how do you pick your next book? And this is probably the place where me and books get the weirdest. I am what I've heard other people refer to as a mood reader. I don't intentionally think a long time ahead about what books I want to read. When I finish a book, I bring it in, I put it on the shelf, and almost immediately I walk around the shelves in my room, looking at the books, trying to decide what to read next. I pick out probably normally 5 or 6 books from the shelves, and I take them in and I put them on my nightstand. And that night before I go to bed, I try to read the first paragraph of each one of those books, and after that I decide which one I have the most interest in at that moment. By the way, my wife calls this book tryouts, is what I'm doing. I'm holding tryouts to see which book I'm going to read next. And so that's kind of the way in which I pick books. But usually I just read that first paragraph of a book, and if that's the one I want to read, that's the one I pick. There are several books, by the way, who've been through many book tryouts, and I've read the first paragraph of and never quite got around to reading them. Foucault's Pendulum is a good example of one of those books which frequently gets in the tryout, but somehow that Umberto Eco novel never quite makes it all the way to the finish in terms of me reading it. Question number 7 is, do you have any other rituals when you finish a book? Well, that depends. If it's an Ernest Hemingway book, I drink a glass of scotch and I smoke a cigar. By the way, that's just in case Steve Donahue happens to watch my video, which I grant you is unlikely. He said something funny about Hemingway readers drinking grain alcohol and smoking cigars while they read Hemingway novels, which I think he called Dude Bro Lit. So I don't do that when I finish a Hemingway novel either. I don't have rituals when I finish a book other than putting the book on the shelf and almost immediately beginning the search for a new book. Anyway, that's the finished book tag. Again, thanks to Blues Chapter and Verse for including me in this tag. And if you get a chance, go by and look and watch his channel, watch his videos, and see what you think, because I really like his channel. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments.